Guys, welcome back. I still have my cold. Feels awesome. I was going to use some of this Vitaflex 40, which has been sitting on my shelf for quite a while, and make some new 3PO hands and feet. And I'm going to experiment mixing it with some of the other urethane resins, which somebody said you could do. I haven't seen. I tried to look it up to see if anybody else has done it. I haven't found any videos anywhere, so I'm going to try to mix some smooth cast with some Vitaflex and see if it changes the consistency. It's probably going to be a terrible disaster, but we're going to find out. But I opened my Vitaflex, and it's like a solid chunk on the top, blocking everything. I thought it was cured all the way through, but I poked through that top layer, and there's still liquid underneath. So I've got about, I don't know, half a bucket left that is maybe gone bad. I'm going to peel the top off of this and then try to use it anyway. So we'll see where it goes. But that's just a note. So if you have urethane resins sitting around for too long, they will go bad. The smooth cast that I use, I've had a few of them that have gotten really close. Like they start to look milky and weird, but they still work. I'm hoping the Vitaflex still works once I cut off this like 1.5 inch thick skin that's on the top. So we'll see. I'll be back in a minute. Gross. So here's the thickness of this gelled up top. Now the stuff inside is kind of thick, which is it's thicker than normal. It's usually a bit more of a runny consistency. So this is kind of like a honey consistency, although I think it'll still work. I think it's still gonna work. So we're gonna find out. This is the part A. The part B, it's still liquid, but it needs to definitely be stirred up. This is how thick that piece is that's gone bad, completely bad. This is probably bad too, but it's less bad. I should put this in a honey jar in the kitchen. That would go over really well. Alright guys, I'm back. I'm sitting on the ground outside of my shop here. I've put the Vitaflex into these little cups. I've got, let's see, I have a part A, part B Vitaflex. Part A is, like I said, like honey consistency. Part B is much more liquid. However, it has changed color a little bit since I originally bought it. It was more of it was sort of opaque, but it was kind of a little bit more of an amber color. Now it looks kind of red, so I don't even know if it's going to work. And I also, in 2 other cups, I have a part B and a part A of the Smooth Cast 300. These are both urethanes. The Vitaflex is a urethane rubber. The Smooth Cast is a Jeez, I'm having trouble, guys. I'm sorry. The Smooth Cast is a urethane resin. And like I said, I've been told that you can mix these and get different consistencies. I have absolutely no idea whether this is true or not. So this is why we're about to find out. I'm going to mix them in a big cup like this, and then I'm going to pour them in some old molds that I have. If they work, maybe I'll give these away. This is a, what is this? This is a restraining bolt for the droids. Restraining bolt, and then got some R2 parts. I have newer molds of both of these. So I'm going to test in here. If it goes bad and I lose the mold, it's no problem. So let's start mixing it up, and we'll see how it goes. Whew. We're not going to mix it with that knife. We're going to mix it with these tongue depressors here. Let me put this over here. Yeah. The Vitaflex has a 16-hour cure time, and the Smooth Cast, I'm sorry guys, I'm telling you, I have a bad cold right now, and it's really screwing me up. The Smooth Cast 300 has like a 5-minute pot life and a 15-minute cure time. So there's a big difference. I do have an accelerator for the Vitaflex, but I'm not going to use it with this batch. If this works, if this whole experiment works, I'll be able to tell how long it actually takes to cure with the weird mix. And if it takes a long time, I may use some of the accelerator in the Vitaflex and see if that works too. So one way to find out. Here we go. Time to get started. I guess I'll pour in the B sides first into this cup. Sorry guys, I should probably move the camera angle here so you see what I'm doing, but I got stuff all over my hands. I'm pouring the B-sides in this cup. These cups are not the greatest to do this stuff in. They work okay if you're just mixing up a batch of resin or something and then pouring it really quickly, but these resins tend to actually eat through these cups after a little bit, so not the best scenario. All right, so I've mixed my Vitaflex and my smooth cast parts B in here. I just started to spill my smooth cast part A because I'm a disaster today. Let me move this thing here. Oh my gosh, the mess. This is such a janky setup. Oh my god, guys, I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can get this to work right. Ugh. It's gonna be crooked, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to deal with crooked video. Here we go. So this is going in here now. It's like a big ball of snot. I'm curious to see how that even mixes. So this is all going in. I need to add a little bit more smooth cast back to my cup because I just spilled it all over the ground, which is great. Okay, here's this part. Grab the smooth cast from over here. Smooth cast 300. And just add a little bit more to equal it out. A little bit more. There we go. Should be good. I don't even know what's going to happen in this cup right now. It's probably going to be terrible. Alright, smooth cast is in there. Got all these resins. I just spilled a bunch on the pavement here, which is great. So I'm going to mix this up until it's sort of looks like some kind of decent consistency. I can see a lot of swirls in it right now, so it's probably going to take a few minutes to mix it up, especially since that part A of the Vitaflex is so high viscosity at the moment. It's funny, it's actually, I think because of the smooth cast, I can feel already the cup heating up a little bit. So we'll see what we get here. It might work. It might work, or it might fail miserably. All right. Typically I'd like to mix this longer, but it does feel like it's heating up. I don't want the kick, and the color is changing a lot. So I'm gonna pour this in the molds. It's very thick, which could be very good for rotocasting if this works. I mean, I basically bought that big thing of Vitaflex for the RoboCop helmet that I did a while back, and I used it to make the underskull, the chin, and the head portions. Wow, this stuff is already kicking off. It went off very, very fast. So this is like, it's like frosting right now. Which honestly, if this works, this frosting consistency might be really, really good for laying up the 3PO feet. If it works, we'll find out. Here comes my dog. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like frosting. It's feeling really weird and gross. Whoa, terrible. There's my dogs. You're gonna walk over here. Hey, wait, watch out, buddy. Spill this stuff. So all right, I'm gonna let these things kick off. I'll be back in a little bit, or maybe tomorrow. I don't know when they're gonna be completely cured. I have a cup here, half full, and we'll check them out shortly. I gotta clean this mess up. All right, so I'm back. It's my third sweatshirt of the day. Here's that resin rubber mix. It's cured enough. It doesn't come off on my fingers, but when I tap it with my fingernail, it leaves a little mark. I don't know if I can get this on camera. You can see I stabbed it a few times with a knife. It's I think it's cured enough to demold. So I'm going to take it out of the mold here, and it sort of worked. It was thickening up, so it didn't fill in one of these corners. But we have a very rubbery feeling restraining bolt, which is interesting. I'm gonna let this cure a little longer. I feel like maybe if it cures overnight, it might actually work okay. So clearly you can mix it. It does work, sort of. Now the quality of the rubber is really weird. Here's this R2 part here, you can see that the rubber itself, again, this is probably not cured enough. It's almost like the smooth cast part of the rubber is the smooth cast part of the rubber. The smooth cast part of the mix, which is the urethane resin, has cured first, and that the rubber part of it is not cured all the way. So it kind of it tears a little bit. It kind of reminds me of some kind of hard candy. Or like not hard candy. I'm telling you, me being sick, I've said so many goofy things today. It feels like one of those, like some kind of soft candy. It's hard enough that it holds its shape and it has a rubbery feel, but you can kind of tear it, and you can, like with that knife I had earlier, I could poke the knife in it and it makes a mark. However, it demolds. I just demolded that, just came right out, no problem. So I'll see. I'm gonna let it sit for a few more hours and see if it strengthens up at all, if it affects anything. I mean, obviously this is a terrible casting. It was already kicking off when I poured this, but if it strengthens up at all, then this might be usable. But as of right now, you can see it kind of just comes apart, like it breaks. It's real soft, and that's not good. So we'll see. Be back in a little bit. One more test, maybe one more in the morning. Maybe I'll just wait till the morning, guys. I think that'll be better. All right, guys, good morning. So this stuff is set for plenty of time now, and I just bending it, you can see that it tears very easily. So it has like a really good feel as far as the actual sponginess of the rubber is basically where I would want it to be, except that it is now super weak. So it tears like that. It tears really easily. It doesn't flex very far before it starts to rip. So it's kind of a fail. I guess it does show that you can mix these materials together and they'll still cure. I mean, it's still an item. It's just not a very good item. This may be handy for certain shaped props if you were in a complete bind and you didn't have the materials, which is why I was testing it. The VitaFlex I have is VitaFlex 40, which is very flexible. And with the RoboCop stuff that I made, it was the neck and the chin. The actor could talk with the rubber piece on, and it would flex. It was really good for that. Perfect for that. The VitaFlex 40 was perfect for that. Or if you're making like a Batman cowl or any kind of those kind of masks that pull over and are snug, the VitaFlex 40 is really good. But for C-3PO's hands and his feet, they need to be flexible enough where they can bend, they have some give, but I want them to be relatively stiff. So I need to get like one of the higher number VitaFlex, a higher durometer is what I really need to go do, is just buy the right stuff. But I figured it's worth a test to see if it works. And now we know that you can mix it, but the tear strength is bad. So if you're making a part that needs to flex a lot, it's not good. If you're making like a solid piece like this, that probably isn't going to have any flex, it's just going to be, attached to something, you just don't want it to be maybe like a harder rubber that'll crack, it might be okay. I don't know. But anyway, just an experiment. I'm going to go buy the right stuff and then do my parts properly. Sorry for the cold. I will be back soon. Later, guys. We're being kidnapped by Delight FM. Jesus, this cold is giving me a little bit lower range than I've ever had access to. It's interesting, and it feels sexy.